Welcome, gentlemen. Uh, the sub-metering, in fact, was ignored in the beginning stages of district cooling because most district cooling want to put bulk meter on a building, forget all the headache of these hundred thousands of meter, collect their money from the building owner, and that's it. In fact, gradually, as the industry developed, who imposes is the strong preference of the end users for fair practices to get the sub-metering involved. And the industry started listening, and myself, I did few small surveys where I saw strong preference from the end user perspective for the sub-meters. Today, according to the gentleman in the room, we have almost 25 to 30,000 meters installed in the UAE that are operational, and some are still being commissioned. The first subject, and this is where I divided, I will start probably from Tariq's side. The first subject of the agenda is the type of submeters. So each one of you has different type and has different preferences. So I leave it to this side of the table probably to each one.
We have definitely different types of meters, no doubt about it, but I have to discourage you in a certain way because actually the delegate here from the company Kamstrup, we have many things in common, especially if it comes to the technology at all, okay, which meters, technology can be considered in certain projects. And there you have to see other parts in the world, mainly Europe, where we have gained our main experience. And there's always a discussion between ultrasonic technology and mechanical meters. But we were quite happy because this way, as I mentioned before, we work in common actually to convince potential customers, the industry, and so on.
Just in brief, maybe you can start. What is a mechanical meter and what is the ultrasonic meter?
Okay, a mechanical meter is, you can say, it's a turbine meter where you have wear parts. Okay, so it's not a very long lifetime of this product. The accuracy, the reliability is not that good compared to ultrasonic meter. That is, you can say briefly, the difference.
Germo, what is an ultrasonic meter?
Ultrasonic BT meter or electricity meter or energy meter is a meter which flow sensor is operating on the ultrasonic principle. And I would very much agree what my colleague in here said, that in Europe, I have been in this business for the past 70 years and seen the change from mechanical meter into static meter. And within these static meters, as discussed, we have ultrasonic operation principle, magnetic inductive, also oscillating principle. And I mean, they would be
focusing on technically. What is the principle of ultrasonic measurement?
No, then principle of ultrasonic technology is that we have two reflectors or two sensors that are transducing and receiving ultrasonic beam, which is then sent from one sensor to another sensor, and the other beam is going with the flow, other beam is going against the flow, and there will be a time delay between these beams, and that is then calibrated to the flow.
Hans from TCAM, what do you have? What type of meters do you have?
Well, it's not about what type of meters we have. It's about the philosophy behind what we do. We as TECAM, we are a service provider. So the hardware is not our focus, but the service behind it. So for us, it can be Landis & Gyr meter, or Kamstrup, or a TECAM meter, or Acteros, or anything. So it is not about the meter itself, but the added value, the services. Now, if you supply a meter, who takes care of it? Someone has to do the asset management. Okay, the meter, all meters have a battery with a limited lifetime.
So explain what TCAM does.
We are a service provider, a utility metering and billing service provider.
So you invest in the meter, you own the meter?
There are many models for this, many models. First of all, when we talk about meters, understood, this is the basis. Without a meter, you cannot bill. So we need first a metering device to start doing our activities. But it doesn't go like many people think here, just press the button and the bill comes out on the other side. First, the meter must read, and for the meter to read, it must function. So it needs maintenance. It needs observation of the calibration period to be replaced. Bottom line, asset management. Furthermore, it has to read. Someone has to read it in a way, whether it's through an automated meter reading system, or a manual, or visual, or whatever, or RF technology, and that's not the point. Then it comes further. When you take the data, you have to check them and prepare them, because what you get would only be the reading value. So then you must know, is the meter reading right, or is it a negative reading, or reverse flow, or whatever it is. Furthermore, in our case, when we're talking about district cooling, you know, all of you know definitely that we have the bulk of the charges are a lump sum, a capacity charge, or a demand charge, like it's called sometimes. This has to be allocated somehow to a bill, and this is governed by laws and regulations all over Europe, but not applicable here yet, because we don't have a law for this here, how to allocate the costs. And furthermore, after the billing, we capitalize on the data we gain to benchmark the building, and we know where are we. The data, the consumption management, to know where are we, what did we do, what can we achieve, where is our saving. So this is in brief what a service provider does. It is not a hardware-oriented solution, but a service-oriented solution.
That's good, I mean, and as this, you are not biased.
Secondary.
From your experience, which is more reliable and headache-free?
I don't think that this is a fair question, because you have different technologies. You cannot say that ultrasonic is better than mechanical meters or vice versa, because this is a measuring technology and that's a different measuring technology. It's comparing, let's say, what is better, flying or driving. It doesn't go like that. This is a measuring technology which is approved, which has limitations, which has error margin, and the other one is the same as well. So, from my point of view, is as long as the measuring tool serves the purpose within economical frame, within an economical frame, and you produce the bill at the set time, it is secondary.
From your side, I mean, the type of meters is one thing. Also, if you can focus on the temperature sensor type and the calculator itself.
In terms of what? I mean,
In
because
terms of types and the reliability and preference.
no, let me highlight one thing here. ISTA again is a service provider, so we don't manufacture the meters.
Okay.
So probably you need to ask me after the meter in terms of reading and billing. Just would like to go on with the flow of the same discussion when it comes to meters. It's an interesting question regarding mechanical and ultrasonic, and somehow we need to look for what kind of period are we talking about. If we are talking about having regulations like Europe, or changing the meter after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, we have to take this into consideration. If I'm changing the meters in 5 years, I don't see any difference between the accuracy between the mechanical and ultrasonic, for example, especially when you talk about residential. However, every meter has its advantage and disadvantage. Ultrasonic is definitely more accurate. Mechanical is more durable once it's properly, if the maintenance is being done the right way. As far as the billing part is concerned, I tend to agree with Hans into that as long as the meter is providing the right reading, as a service provider, I couldn't care less. I have in my portfolio all types of meters. I don't really, it doesn't make any difference from my perspective.